Hello, my name is Christine Bowen, and this is a action research plan proposal for my research class. I am a student with Aspen University, and I'm very excited to talk to you about what my action research plan would be. First, I'd like to identify the problem that we would be facing and what the action research plan would solve. So, in this plan, I'd like to identify that the problem is the abilities and skills of educators. There are many cases when training programs in workplaces are implemented but not evaluated for outdated material or changes that need to be made. There are also trainers or educators that feel like doing the bare minimum can make a good enough employee or student be successful. Whereas in reality, they should be attempting to make the training the best as possible to prevent future issues from coming up. This could cause terrible issues for performance or behavior with the mentality of bare minimum being good enough. Now, the goal of this action research plan would be to have insight into what a standard trainer feels when they are completing their tasks toward changing or updating training, when they are teaching the material, and the outcomes the students experience outside of training. This information would provide the information required to have a good understanding on what areas need to be visited regularly for updates. To complete this action research plan, I will need to get multiple companies that provide on site training involved to speak with their trainers, the trainees, and any individuals that have completed training with a variety of lower and higher performance levels. Speaking with management that oversees these programs would be also a great idea as well to see if they're willing to speak on what the expectations of each training class and the expectations of the team members that they have already that have graduated those training courses to see what the baseline should be for those team members and how everyone is performing to those standards. Now, the most obvious obstacles would be getting companies to agree to an interview, and that's, with them or their teams. There will have to be alternative companies selected and ready to replace at a moment's notice to avoid not having a large enough sample size. Another obstacle is not having people honestly answering surveys or interview questions for fear of retaliation with our company or just not caring on the results of the initial data collecting. To overcome this, I would provide each person I met with an informed consent document that shows I do not work for their company and that the results will remain anonymous to avoid bias in the study. The biggest intervention plan I would propose implementing is having frequent meetings to discuss the training material to ensure that the material is being taught relevantly. So, anything that is outdated or is no longer relevant to what the team members need to know would need to be fixed. I would also relay the message to management that they should be having regular check ins to evaluate the progress on the training group to keep the trainers accountable for their work. The trainers should have clear expectations on the environment they are expected to conduct and promote for the best learning experience. The trainees should be held to a high standard of following the guidelines of a learning environment and kept accountable for using this information when they need to apply it to their everyday lives. The most important piece is to make sure that this process of change for bettering the environment does not stop after one round, but it is a continuous cycle. The staff will need to collaborate what works best for them in providing a detailed and action oriented plan for making changes between each training class. The best way to measure the effectiveness of this plan is to give semi annual surveys to the team to see if they're meeting their performance goals and if there's something different the staff could be or could have done to meet those goals. The trainer should be monitoring the performance goals of the staff after training to see if there are significant differences in the levels of success for each person. If there are areas that are suffering, then the changes need to be made in those specific areas. If the staff were to be making errors in reporting their weekly recaps to the manager, is it because of an issue with the process of completing them or a mismanage of time management? There is a possibility that the program or the problem no longer resides in the training process and is more of a growth opportunity for the individual. I hope that you learned a little bit about my action research plan, and I'm so excited to hear more. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.